here's 5 AI tools you can use in order to skyrocket your social media, grow your business, generate more leads, and make more money. The first one is to make sure that you're using ChatGPT the right way. So what do I mean? A lot of people just do random things on social media or specifically on ChatGPT. They give it a very generic prompt. But one of the things I've learned that's really important when it comes to using ChatGPT is making sure that you have context around it. What do I mean? So if I say write an email, okay, an email about what? Write an email about someone who would like to get a promotion for a company. Okay, that's even more details, but now let's give more context. Write an email from someone trying to get a pay rise for a company that have been there for the last 10 years and have helped this company through XYZ. The more context that you give AI, the more income that you can start generating. Why is that important? Because with context comes specificity. Specificity gives you that priority in order for you to start finding businesses where you can really help them. That's number one. The second one that I use a lot is one called VoicePal. So what is VoicePal? VoicePal is like a ghostwriter. So if you're dyslexic like me and you're like, Johnny Nard, my spelling's bad, my grammar's bad. If your spelling is bad like mine, then what you do is you can talk into this ghostwriter, and this ghostwriter will basically articulate everything that you've just said in a very specific way. And then what happens, you're now able to start having that rewrite it for you. So that's why I think it's so important for a lot of you. Like, for example, if you're articulating texts, if you are writing things in a certain way, like you can take away a lot of the writing process. And I mean, ChatGPT also, a feature that people don't use is the voiced mode. Now, when I say voice mode, I don't mean talking into it and then basically having it talk back to you. I'm talking about the conversational voice mode. What does that mean? So, for example, let's say I wanted to articulate an email. In fact, that's what I did with this. I said to my Nova, which is next generation optimized virtual assistant, I said, Nova, ask me a question. And I basically took all the context and things that I know, and then it's now allowing me to create this piece of content for you because it understands the context on it, because it knows that a lot of people follow me are interested in making more money in the business, are interested in AI, are interested in social media. So you got like VoicePal is really good for articulating things that you want to say. Sometimes you want to write an email and you write it and it sounds really aggressive. So you can take that, VoicePal it, and then put it into ChatGPT and say, reword this to make it sound more elegant or to make this sound not as angry but firm, right? And it will rewrite it in a certain way. So that's pretty cool. Number 3, the third tool that I use on a daily basis is to make sure that you are using things like captions, right? So what is captions? Captions allows you to clone yourself. If you're cloning, let's say one day I get up and I've got a croaky voice, or let's say I don't feel well, I can literally film myself in this position and then I can have my team create content for me so I don't have to create content. I mean, right now, okay, I don't mind doing it because I like creating content, but a lot of people don't. They say, John, I don't want to show my face on camera. Well, this is what you want to use Captions AI for, because now you can clone yourself, and it has a little feature called an AI echo. So an AI echo is the ability for you to basically voice. So let's say right now I'm in the car and Michelle says to me, hey, John, I need a piece of content to promote our next mastermind in LA or our next mastermind in London. So I can just record a voice note. I can send it to her. And what happens is when she sends it back, that voice can then go onto my AI avatar. And when it goes onto my AI avatar, the AI will basically perform for me so that I don't have to be the one talking, but it takes my voice and puts my mannerisms into it as well. So Captions AI is, again, one of the best for those of you, if you don't want to show your face on camera. You can use something called a UGC creator. You've heard me talk about this a lot. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel because there's a video on there that talks a lot about that. Using artificial intelligence as AI avatars or UGC creators, you have creators that have already sold their likeliness and allowed other people like you to be able to promote it for them. For example, let's say you have a makeup brand and you want to promote it. You might say, okay, I need someone who is Asian, or I might need someone who's from Western. You can choose any avatar that you want, and these are real people who have actually put themselves onto Captions to be able to do that. The fourth one, which I think is really powerful, is to use something called pixels. Now, why is pixels important? So if any of you have used or created content before, for example, this video, you'll see will be created by pixels in terms of the thumbnail. So people say, well, John, like, how do I know what content to create? I don't know what to create. So for example, you can go to pixels and it'll give you what we call a title generator. So you can say, I want to create a video about losing weight, and it'll regenerate it and it'll give you a title. And then all you have to do is make sure that you use that with the content and then turn that into a thumbnail. And you can have 3 different variations of it. So then it increases the click-through rate. Now, if you're wondering, John, what is John even talking about? What I'm talking about is a specific way to get more leads, get more exposure, to get more views and sales. sales, right? That's what it's for. The last one, which I think is really, really powerful, is to use something like 11 Labs, because why? It creates conversational AI. So what is conversational AI? It allows you to be able to talk to somebody, or Sesame is really good for that, or salesfunnels.io also has the ability to create voice agents. Because right now we're living in the world of what we call AI agents. We're now evolving to agentic AI, meaning everything that you can do, it can do for you. For example, you take Perplexity. You want to be able to book a hotel. You can combine something like that with an agent called AI Haggler. So if you want to get a cheap hotel room, you combine that with AI Haggler. AI Haggler will call the hotel for you and it will get the room cheaper for you. So you can use things like that. But it can also book flights. It can also do hotels and things like that as well. So that's a new feature that's just come out on that. Whenever I'm using these types of softwares, I want to make sure that these voice agents is now evolved with something called AI organizations. So what is an AI organization? AI organization is you get a whole combined agents together, and which then form an organization, and now you can actually operate a company from anywhere in the world. That's why myself and Julia, we're heading to London. We have a mastermind there. We just got back from Singapore, and then we're flying to Singapore again, and then to LA, and so on and so forth. So how can we do that? Because we use a lot of AI. So for example, when I create content, I use a lot of AI. When we have our students that enroll into a lot of our higher tier programs, for example, we have AI implemented. Sometimes if I'm not able to, for example, we have our Diamond and we have our Infinity members, for example, they have my direct number, so they can call me, they can message me, but sometimes I'll be on a flight. But, I might have one of my students say, Maria, say, hey, John, I want to learn more about how do you actually structure your talk. So I can say, go through my John Lee presentation teacher, right? So then they'll go through, they'll ask me questions, but I'm not there. And they know I'm not there. But then they'll use that to do 90% of the work. And then they come to real John Lee to say, hey, I went through the presentation, I did this, it didn't work, or I did this and it did work. What can I improve on? That's where I come in. So what you do is you let AI do 80% of the work, and you let 10% of the work, which is basically you going in with your fine tuning, right? So that's how it works. So that's pretty cool. Again, we're now living in a world where we don't have to be the ones doing the work. We just need to be the ones who are prompting the work. We've gone from now AI agents to now AI execution, meaning the work can be done for you based on a command, based on a string of automations. And that's why, when we're talking a lot about artificial intelligence now, it's not just about using AI to generate, we talk about generative AI. When people say to me, what's the most important part of this? It's the training. You have to train the AI to think like you. So that's why you want to get yourself one of these. You can see a little record button. Can you see it? So that record button, I can basically hit record, and everywhere I go, it records everything I do. So every talk that I do on stage, every mentoring session that I do, I'm always recording a lot of the processes that I have. That goes into a knowledge base, and now I can have my entire team use that. So let's say, how would John Lee answer this question? So when I ask the question, that's how John Lee would answer it, right? And it would answer exactly how I would answer it, and it wouldn't give me some kind of generic process. So this is why I want you to pay really close attention to all the things that really matter when it comes to growing and scaling businesses. In fact, if any of you are interested in learning more about this, if you want to accelerate your business, we travel all around the world in US, Europe, UK, UAE, Asia, Australia. If you would love to attend any of our business accelerators, what I want you to do is I'll leave a link in the description below and you can check it out. All right. Other than that, I want to say, if you know anyone right now who is looking to learn artificial intelligence, make sure you forward this video to them. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'll be uploading more AI content specifically for monetization, making passive income, and also creating a strong online brand using social media. All right. This is John Lee checking out. I'll also link a video here as well. Check out this video here.